Hey, what's going on? This is Geno from Filter, and you're logged on to guitar.com. The whole thing about these drop tunings is they make they kind of give you this simplicity, which can be really beautiful. And I, again, there's favorite chords that we use, and these sus2 chords we use them. They're all over Filter music, And basically, Richie calls it the pinky chord, but sometimes it depends on how I'm voicing it. But definitely, this is one of our classic characteristic Filter things, and we didn't invent it. It was there before us, and it'll be there after us. But we love to use it a lot. I think everyone's pretty much hip to drop tunings these days. I mean, they're very, very common. But I would, to play like us, I mean, yeah, sure, you can learn to play, in drop D. But I would experiment with other tunings. I mean, that's my greatest advice. And just work on writing your own songs. It's great to emulate other bands, and obviously you want to gain facility on the instrument, so I'll do that by learning other people's riffs. But the thing is try and find your own identity. I mean, if you like heaviness, then concentrate on your tone. And I would suggest, I think sometimes there's not enough richness in people's tone. Like, I think that it might be a little. I like a real saturated tone. So my pre's, my gains on my preamps are up real high. The problem with that, and you got to be careful of this, is that it'll take off on you. You'll get feedback, or you get what we call like the sick cow, which is like this really low end feedback that's at around 200 hertz or 400 hertz. And it's basically my advice would be to just work on your own material. And also, it doesn't hurt to learn every fucking Black Sabbath riff, also. What else? What else do you need, really? I do that as a thing to kind of, just like loosen up my hands, basically. Because if you play songs, Dose is another great song from the first album, Short Bus. That's a really good, just thing to get your hands warmed up, because it's just this check. Things like that. I'll just go through a few of the songs. I don't really run scales per se, because really, to give you the God's honest truth, I've often found that you can get just caught up in trying to do and learning all these scales and all this stuff, and it's great, and people who want to seek that kind of facility should do that, and I encourage that. But I think for me it's more about getting warm, because when you're out on the road, if I'm at home, I'm not going to really sit there and pick up the guitar just to play scales. If I pick up the guitar, I'm going to try and write something. I'm going to try and create. I'm going to try and create a new texture or a new riff. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, I learned my major scales, so that's all I'm going to do. I had to learn those like everybody else, but I didn't really. I think I understand that they're a means to an end, but some people find that they're an end in themselves. So I don't really mess around with it. I do some little chromatic stuff just to kind of get warmed up. There's also another alternating picking exercise that I do that has really long reaches, and it goes like this. If you watch the pick hand, that's what I'm trying to get it so you can get a close up on it. But it's always going up and down. So you're not just doing downstrokes, or you're not just doing upstrokes. So I go. I'll just go up to the neck. And that's a really good stretch to do these. As you go up, you're getting really. It helps build strength too. So that's generally what I'll do along with some chromatic scales and stuff, just to get myself, warm, just to loosen up my hands a little bit before we go on. I don't know if there are mistakes. I mean, you either write a good riff or you don't. You either create good music or you don't. I mean, I can't really tell you what's, I really can't. Sorry about that. My advice would be to just, experiment as much as possible. You can't go wrong. That's the whole idea about, I mean, for me, it's like drop tunings are meant to facilitate easy, grasping easier, more complex structures. If you had to play chords, like these Robert Fripp type things, and you're like stretching all over the thing, it's kind of the great thing about the drop tunings is if you're going to sing and play, it simplifies that, So my advice is just to experiment, and you really can't go wrong. I mean, I don't know of mistakes that you can make when you're trying to. If you're going to try and create something honestly with all your heart, you can't go wrong.